Hello and welcome to the Shanehofmanshow Show. I think it's episode 7. 7 of these things. It's crazy. It means 7 consecutive weeks of doing the show. It's great. But today we got lots to talk about. We got the Bash in Berlin that we have to talk about. Or my predictions for the Bash in Berlin, rather. We have to talk about my most anticipated movies coming out, right? There's a lot. D23 just happened with Toy Story 5 and Shrek 5. That wasn't announced at D23, but still, that's coming out. The Batman Part 2, Avengers, Doctor Doom, Fantastic Four, all these movies coming out. I'm going to tell you my favorite 5 that are headed out here. And then we got to talk about the fitness portion of the show. How to get stronger fast. How to get your numbers up. How to get your lifts up fast. Whether that's the bench press, the deadlift, the squat, the row. You're trying to do more pull-ups. You're trying to do more push-ups. It's the same across the board here. So we're going to talk about that. Let's jump into it. First thing we got to talk about today is Bash in Berlin. Now, I am currently recording this at like 4:50 on a Friday, so SmackDown has not been released yet. So everything I could say could change, and I might need to make a follow-up to this video. But we're going to talk about what is confirmed, and that is Randy Orton versus Gunther, and why I think this is a unique choice, why I think it's a great choice, and why I'm a little confused on it. So I think this is a great choice because of the fact that at King of the Ring, Randy's shoulders weren't fully pinned to the mat. When you watch the replay, his shoulders slightly come up, so that obviously left things open-ended. When Gunther beat Randy Orton in the finals of King of the Ring, that left things open-ended to get to the point to where we are now, which is now Orton's going to go for the belts. Here's why I agree with that. A, the match at King of the Ring was awesome, so this match should be awesome. But here's the reason why I'm a little iffy on it is I want to see Orton as champion. And I know I'm pretty confident. I can't say I know because I don't know. But I'm very confident that Randy Orton will not beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And we're going to use Randy as a way to cement Gunther's legacy. Now, there's a few ways they can go about this. One of them benefits Randy Orton. The other is like, what the heck did we just do? Because Randy is a guy who he has not held singles gold in a while. And especially now that we're doing everything with the Intercontinental Championship with Braun Breaker, I'm not even sure if Randy's going to be holding that gold for a while. I thought the story that we were going to build to, and I'm assuming after Bash in Berlin that this is going to be the case, is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed title. Even with that, I don't believe in having Randy be the guy to take the belt off Cody because we still have The Rock to set up. So with knowing that, right, that Randy's probably going to lose that feud because you got to set up Cody and The Rock for the belt. It's got to be a thing at some point. Randy's probably going to lose, unless they pull a fast one on us and have Randy actually win this match, which would be crazy, and I don't know what you would do with that. But if Randy loses here, he's either going to jump into a feud with Cody Rhodes, which is going to be awesome, by the way, but then he'll probably have to lose again, or he goes back again to feud with the Bloodline, which we've seen for like over a year now, which everything with the Bloodline is great, and we're going to get to that, but I don't know if Randy fits there anymore. He could be a piece there, and I think that's honestly where we should put him, but now that we're putting him back into a title picture, if he loses here, he's just going to go right back to doing what he just did, and he just looks like a guy who can't get the job done because he lost King of the Ring, he lost the World Heavyweight Championship, he's been losing, he lost a lot of singles matches of recent, and it just makes Randy look like a guy who can't get the job done. Now, on the other hand, it makes Gunther look great, which if that's the goal is we just want to make Gunther look great, then great, right? Then that's great. But what happens is there's two ways to go here. And what I would do in this situation is if you're going to make Randy lose, here's the problem with making him go to a feud with Cody Rhodes. Although that feud will feed families, and it will be great, and I can't wait to see it, it's just not the best time. Because he's going to go from a feud with Gunther that he's going to lose into a feud with Cody, which ultimately he'll probably end up, I mean, if he beats Cody, that's a whole other animal, right? But I don't think that you're going to do Randy Orton, Cody, and have Randy Orton win the belt simply because of the fact that Cody Rhodes and The Rock is too, with the title on the line, is too big of a money match. And plus, the WWE Championship has such an important role in the Bloodline story because of the fact that Roman held it for 4 years. The Rock pinned Cody. Cody's now champion. The Rock can come back because he wants a championship match. I think you need to keep the belt in the hands of Cody Rhodes until that story has been completely cemented, whenever him and The Rock finally have their thing. And then you can pull the belt fully out of the Bloodline. Right now, the Bloodline storyline has nothing to do with the belt anymore because now it has to do with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Enter in my thoughts for Randy Orton, which is, if Orton loses, whether he loses or wins at Bash in Berlin, which I'm going to predict he loses here. It's my prediction, he loses. Maybe the Bloodline costs him, and that would actually be good because then we could protect him a little bit there. Orton now is inserted into Roman Reigns' dream team of Roman, Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, and Orton, which would be freaking insane. That would be like Survivor Series War Games level worthy of a team. That would be crazy. Now, Sami Zayn obviously hasn't been recruited yet, but because he lost the belt to Braun Breaker, and he's been more friendly with Jey Uso, I think they're building to like a Bloodline reunion and having maybe even Orton and Owens, or just Orton, or maybe just Owens enter the fray there. That is going to be incredible. Now, if you're going to make Randy win, the question is, what do we do? What do we do? Who challenges him? Do we have a rematch and Gunther wins? Does Damian Priest get his rematch and the Judgment Day screw him over? Does Seth Rollins get into the fray? Does Drew What do we do? Because Drew is occupied by Punk at the moment, and Seth Rollins just got the crap kicked out of him a couple weeks ago by Big Bronson Reed. So I don't know if maybe you do Randy versus him, or maybe you have Gunther beat Randy and you have Big Bronson Reed be built up for the World Heavyweight title contender. I'm not against that either. Big Bronson Reed is a bad dude, and sure, he hasn't been booked the best on TV, but they did a great thing with him, making him basically kill Seth Rollins the other day. They're making him feel important. You can build him up to be a contender for the title, and maybe you use him as the example of how great Gunther is by pinning him. Or maybe if Randy wins, he falls to Randy Orton and something gets brewed from there. I don't know. But there's multiple directions they have. But at Bash in Berlin, my gut has to go with Gunther winning. Whether that's interference from the Bloodline and we set that story back up, or something else happens, I think that's the story we have to tell. Now, here's what I would prefer they do. What I would prefer they do, actually, is, and I don't know why they don't do this, is have the Bloodline get involved and then have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens become a tag team and go after the tag team titles. They've been basically teaming together for a while. They're called RKO, and they have real heat with the Bloodline, so it would work, and you can actually make them become tag champions, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'd actually really like that long story. Maybe we could do the feud to WrestleMania, and like a couple of years ago when the tag teams were in the main event, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won the belts from the Bloodline. Maybe you do that again, but now this time it's Randy Orton and Kevin Owens that thwart the new Bloodline. Thwart. Is that how you say it? Thwart the new Bloodline, right? And that would be really cool. And then you can have, Cody beat The Rock, and Roman beat Solo. Whatever you're trying to build to, make the Bloodline like fall officially. The new Bloodline fall. Whatever you're trying to, it's great. There's a lot of steps we have to do to get there, though, because we have a lot of months leading up to the next big show of shows and stops along the way. So it just depends how you write and book the story. But my prediction for that is that he's going to lose. Now, I don't know if they're doing Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa at Bash in Berlin. I'm not 100% sure. That is a thing that could happen. However, I think that show isn't where it should happen. I think it should be Roman versus maybe a Tama Tonga. He has one of his henchmen do it. We get to see Roman again, but we don't get that big showdown yet. I think it's too early. It's too early for the Tribal Chief showdown. Or maybe it's not. Maybe we do the one-on-one, and that's how we set up the big, obvious Survivor Series match we're building to coming up in a couple months. Maybe that's what they do. But I'm assuming that tonight on SmackDown, that's going to be the match announced. Now, something I just thought of here is we have confirmed Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens for the Undisputed WWE Championship. Maybe what we're doing here is Randy gets jealous that Kevin Owens got a match for the undisputed title. He loses to Gunther, right? And then he gets jealous of that, and then we start the Cody Randy feud that way. Again, we still have the problems of Randy's just going to look like he keeps losing if he loses to Cody again after that, but that's future down the line, right? So that's a good way to set that up. So they have a lot of things that they could set up here. It's just, what are they going to do to play out their right cards? But the Bash in Berlin card looks great. All the matches are going to be phenomenal. And I'm excited to see what else they do. LA Knight is obviously U.S. champion now. We'll see what happens with that. But those are my thoughts of what's going to happen with Bash in Berlin coming up. Okay, now let's talk about the superhero portion of the show, or the movie, pop culture portion, whatever you want to say it, right? We've got a lot of crap coming up the next 2 years, man. I mean, 2024, 2025, 2026 is packed with movies coming out. Venom 3 is coming out. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Toy Story 5, Shrek 5, The Batman Part 2, Spider-Man 4, Fantastic Four, Avengers Doctor Doom, Avengers Secret Wars, Superman. So many are coming out, right? So how do you pick favorites from that? Or not favorites, because I haven't watched any, obviously. But how do you pick most anticipated movies from that? Well, we're going to go off the ones I've kind of studied a bit. I've had the most experience in looking at, and previous movies that I've enjoyed have kind of dictated my favorites or most anticipated for the upcoming movies. And that is, first things first, obviously the number one pick I got, or I guess it's in no particular order. You know what? We are going to go in order here. It's not number one as in my most anticipated, but the first one I'm going to say, so the bottom of the list, number 5, right? My 5th most, I guess, is going to be Jurassic World, the next movie. Now, I know that sounds so weird because there's like a million superhero movies coming out, and I'm picking a dinosaur movie. But you got to understand, I love the original Jurassic Park. I wasn't a fan of the Jurassic World trilogy, especially Dominion. I didn't think Dominion was that good. We were promised dinosaurs roaming the earth, and we had like a spy movie with dinosaurs chasing people and motorcycles, and it was weird, right? And it was not even dinosaurs. They were like just monsters. Weird. But I think if they play their cards right, if they're doing a reboot, there's a chance to either A, remake the theme park idea in a way that's cohesive and captures the magic of how it was done the first time, or B, set up the stage to maybe make our characters. Now, I don't know if this is true. We have to see the synopsis. Probably isn't. But if I was writing the movie, I'd find a way to make our characters go back in time and be in dinosaur era without modernisms. I feel like that would add giant stakes to the movie, because when I think of a dinosaur movie, dinosaurs eating people, I don't want motorcycles and helicopters. I want dinosaur stuff in dinosaur-looking environments, like the first Jurassic Park. We're at a theme park that's dinosaur-themed. Dinosaurs get loose. That's enticing to me. And they're dinosaurs. They're not genetically engineered. They're God-made, right? Well, man-made, technically, right? But they were dinosaurs. Right? They weren't like combining all this crap to make a giant Gigasaurus, Supersaurus, or whatever, right? I want that. Take me back to that. Take me back to the original Jurassic Park. Take me back to simplicity. We kind of got something like that with the movie 65, but it didn't have nearly as much weight to it as the Jurassic Park movies did, and even, in my opinion, some of the Jurassic World movies. I like the idea of it, but the premise of having an alien come to Earth 65 million years ago who has no ideas what dinosaurs are, it takes the weight out of that a little bit. But this way, if they do it this way, it could actually be interesting and fun. Moving on to the next most anticipated movie, it's going to be Avengers Doom. Robert Downey Jr. has been cast as Dr. Doom, and I am freaking ecstatic. I already made a whole video of my thoughts on that and how I feel about that, and I'm still excited for it. I'm still here for it. I'm still ready for it. I am definitely anticipating this one now because of the casting choice and because I love the character, the villain, Dr. Doom. I just think it's going to be incredible. So this is my next anticipated one for sure, which is having Dr. Doom be a villain. I'm excited to see how Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Peter Parker is going to interact with Dr. Doom. I can't wait to see one that looks like Tony Stark. That's just going to be incredible to me. And I'm super excited to see how they are going to actually play that out. My third most anticipated movie is Spider-Man 4. Not Sam Raimi's and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4, but the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, if we ever get a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire from the original trilogy, that would be my most anticipated, and I would love it no matter what. But Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4. Now, I loved No Way Home so much. Yes, I fell for the cheap fan bait and the cheap fan service. You know what? It worked. They did a great job. They reset the character back to his roots, and I can't disagree with what they did. The movie was good. If you take Andrew Garfield and the fan service stuff out of the movie, does it hold up? No, but it has all that things in it, so it does hold up. It's like saying, if you just don't use that cheese on that piece of pizza, it's not as good. Okay, but that pizza has that cheese, so it's good, right? So it holds up, all right? It's a good movie. I loved it. Here's my caveat for this. I hear rumors that they're butting heads about doing multiverse and street stuff. Marvel and Kevin Feige want to do the more street stuff. Sony wants to throw in Andrew and Tobey and make more money. Please don't. We've already seen the multiverse stuff, and we're burning it to the ground. As much as I want to see Andrew and Tobey back, give me the Amazing Spider-Man 3, give me the original Spider-Man 4. That's how you can make your money there. Leave Tom Holland's Spider-Man alone. Let him interact with everyday characters like Kingpin. I want to see him interact with the Kingpin, who's now in the MCU, with characters like maybe even Daredevil if you put him in for a few scenes. I want to see him struggling. I haven't had a classic Spider-Man story in years, and I'm starved. I'm starved. Please, give me a good Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. I know we've got Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man coming out pretty soon, too. That's going to be exciting stuff. They released some artwork about that at the panel. We're going to talk about that in a future episode. But seriously, please, Tom Holland, Spider-Man 4, just give it to me. My second most anticipated movie is The Batman Part 2. I love The Batman Part 1. It's my favorite Batman movie. It is incredible. It captured the detective noir-esque of Batman. It captured his anger. It was a very early on Batman. I love the tone of the movie. I thought the actors and actresses did such a great job with it. I love the universe that Matt Reeves set up. In my opinion, it was a fantastic movie. And more importantly, it was a fantastic Batman movie. I am stoked to see what they do in Part 2. There are rumors that it's the Court of Owls. I've seen some rumors on. I've seen some rumors on Scarecrow. I've seen rumors that they're going to be doing Robin. We're going to have to see the Penguin show is coming out soon, and that looks incredible. So we're going to get into that. There's a lot of good stuff that is being talked about. I am hoping that we do a Robin in the Batman Part 2. That is probably the thing I'm most anticipated about. We haven't had a Robin on screen since Batman and Robin, since those original movies, and it wasn't good. I want a modernized Robin. I know we had the guy from Titans, but that show, not to the actor's fault. The actor did the best he could with the material, but it just was not a good show. I want a live-action, definitive version of Robin. One that we can say, yeah, that guy's Robin. And we haven't had that yet. So I'm counting on the Batman Part 2 to hopefully introduce that in there and give us that. I think it could be done. I really think that if things are strung together properly, if you tell the story properly, you can make Robin work in this universe. Maybe you might have to age him up a bit, maybe make him 16 years old. Fine. If you have to do that to make more real world sense or whatever, I'm fine with that. He doesn't have to be 9 years old, but I want to see Robin done right. I want to see Dick Grayson done right. I don't want to see it be any other Robin yet. I want to see a Dick Grayson first Robin told story, especially because I know in James Gunn's universe they're doing Damian Wayne, which means we're never going to get to see Dick Grayson be Robin in that universe. So I want to see it done now. I want to see Robin be done right. I want to see a live action Under the Red Hood at some point. There's so many opportunities they can tell if they just tell stories Robins. Problem is they don't do it. So they need to start doing it, and this is the perfect opportunity to do that. Lastly, my most anticipated movie for 2025, 2026, out of all of them, out of all the movies coming out, of course, guys, it's Superman. It's Superman. Superman is a really important fictional character to me. Him, Spider-Man, all three of them. If I had to pick, I don't know which one I'd have to pick, but you know what? This Superman movie looks like it's going to mean a lot. James Gunn put his blood, sweat, and tears into this project. They have really made Superman their major focus on their films. Henry Cavill was supposed to come back, and I was a huge fan of it, and then that got scrapped, and I felt bad. And I was like, what are they going to do? But now they got this new guy, David Cornsweet, and they released the suit, and there was a lot of mixed opinions on the suit. I gave my opinions on the suit, but you know what? I'm just excited to see this movie. I'm excited to see a hopeful Superman done right. I'm excited to see a Superman where we could just enjoy the movie. Superman who's going to be doing Superman-like things, happy and joyful. He's got the bright costume. He's got a beautiful emblem on that suit, and I'm just excited to see what they do for it. From what it looks like it's going to be a classic Superman tale and story based off the set photos and the synopsises. We're going to get him interacting with other Justice League members and other people, and it looks like it's going to really be an interesting take on the character. I'm hoping that they keep a lot of things from the Snyder-esque version of not the dark and gritty version, but I want him to be powerful, like really powerful. I want him to feel like Superman, but I also want to see that more human side to him that we didn't really get to see, that Superman smiling guy who's happy to wear the cape side. I'll always love Henry Cavill, and I'll always have a place for that in that version of my heart, but I'm excited to see what this new guy can do and how this new universe melds together. So those are my most anticipated movies out of all of them coming out for the next few years. The fitness portion of the show here, and this one's going to be super quick because the answer is easy. How to get your lifts up fast, right? How to get your bench press up, your deadlift up, your row up, how to get your squat up, right? Your leg press, whatever you're trying to increase your weight, how to increase it, super simple. 5 sets of 5, 6 sets of 6, hard sets, 3 to 5 seconds rest in between. Future Shane here. I meant to say minutes, not seconds. Minutes, please, not seconds. I know that's not the answer maybe you wanted to hear, but that's the answer. You have to train for it. You can't train in a 10 to 15, 10, 12, 15 rep range and expect to increase strength. You're in a sure, you may be relative strength. You might increase slowly over time. You might be able to bump up that weight a little bit each week, but eventually you're going to hit a wall of how much you can do there. And the only way you're going to plow through that wall is to train for strength, is to train for the numbers you want. So if you're doing 10 reps of, let's say, 135, a caddy on a bench press, and you're consistently getting that, or maybe you're able to put up the numbers to 140, but you hit your wall for 10, you're training in a range that's meant for tissue growth. You're doing too many repetitions. You need to up that weight and drop the reps to 6 hard reps, not to failure if you don't have a spotter. If you have a spotter, you can, as long as he knows what he's doing, you can push yourself a little more, right? But train in 6 hard reps, not 10. Sacrifice the repetitions for the weight, add the weight back up there, do 5 to 6 hard sets of 5 to 6 repetitions, and you will get stronger. But you cannot get stronger if you're not prioritizing your strength. I ran into this issue, and I had a conversation with my mentor about it, and I know better. But because I love training in the hypertrophy range, and I love just doing a ton of repetitions and getting that pump, yeah, that pump is great, but I'm not going to join the 300-pound club and beyond if I don't get my numbers in check, if I don't focus. You have to focus. If you don't focus on what you want, you won't get what you want, period. If you're focusing on hypertrophy, 10 to 12 rep range, even 15 rep range, yes, you need to be there. If you're doing 6 to 8 reps in like the strength range, lifting heavy weights, and you're not seeing muscle growth, but you're getting stronger, well, now you know your issue. You're not training for it. You're just pushing weights around. You're not feeling the muscle contract. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you are just training with lighter weights consistently, hoping that one day you're just going to magically, poof, get stronger, it's not going to happen. You need to be more deliberate about it. Push yourself. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. If you've never done 6 sets of 6 hard sets, taking like 2, 3, 5-minute rests in between each set, it sucks. It's rough. It's hard. It's really hard. You're going to want to quit. Your joints are probably going to hurt more than they're used to, and you're going to have to tough up, be a man up, woman up, cowboy up, cowgirl up, deal with it, push through. I'm not saying if you feel shoulder pain, don't keep going, right? But you might have joint stiffness, joint soreness. If you do have joint stiffness and joint soreness, that's a good sign that there's an imbalance going on. There's a muscle weakness we need to fix, maybe on the backside of your shoulder blades. Maybe you have weaknesses in your hips, if it's the deadlift or the squat. Maybe you have tightnesses somewhere. What do you need to stretch? These are all things to pay attention to as you go along and do it. But if you're not focusing on it, you're never going to know. So the step is simple. Focus, focus, focus. 6 sets of 6, 5 sets of 5. I like 6 sets of 6 because personally, I like giving that extra push. If you haven't done this before, maybe start with 5 sets of 5 because it could be a lot. But if you're more seasoned, get after it and go get what you want.